You know what's wild? I'm 60 years old, and it took me more than 3 decades. 3 decades of trial, error, stubbornness, and a few "I think I just broke my body" moments to learn what I'm about to share with you. These are 7 of the biggest health mistakes I made. Not small ones, not "oops, I skipped a workout." I mean the kind of mistakes that quietly steal your energy, fog up your brain, mess with your sleep, and convince you that feeling terrible is just normal. And if you're anything like I was back then, confident, a little cocky, convinced you've already tried everything, this might be hard to hear. But I'm asking you to be receptive, because receptiveness can save you years of misery. I've been through serious health crises, the kind that make you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m. and think, how did I get here? The irony is, it also made me understand people better, because I've experienced so many of the symptoms my patients describe: chronic fatigue, insomnia, joint pain, digestive chaos, weird aches that seem to come out of nowhere. I don't recommend learning the hard way, but if my hard way can become your shortcut, then at least it meant something. So let's dive in. Mistake number 1, the 100 vitamins a day fantasy. There was a time in my life when I wasn't taking vitamins. I was taking bottles. I'm talking over 100 pills a day, sometimes more. It got to the point where my supplement shelf looked like a small pharmacy that had been hit by a tornado. I remember driving with my wife, feeling exhausted, bone deep exhausted, and I'd say, "Honey, let's stop at the health food store. Maybe they can help me." And we'd walk out with another bag of hope. More magnesium, more B complex, more adaptogens, some mysterious herb with a label that looked like it was designed by a wizard. I had chronic fatigue syndrome, severe insomnia, arthritis, all sorts of issues, and I kept hunting for the one magical capsule that would flip the switch back to normal. Here's what I didn't understand. Supplements don't replace a foundation. They sit on top of it. At the time, my diet was, let's be honest, a mess. And no amount of vitamins can compensate for missing the basics. The basics are your macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Back then, I was doing a vegan diet and trying to get enough protein from plants. And for me, personally, it didn't go well. I never felt satisfied. I felt like my body was always asking for something I wasn't giving it. What I wish I had done is start my day with real, solid protein, something my body could use for repair. Because protein isn't just fitness food. It's the raw material for your tissues, your enzymes, your recovery. And energy, a lot of people chase it through carbs. But for many people, stable energy comes from teaching your body to use fat efficiently, not riding the blood sugar roller coaster all day. If I could go back, I wouldn't have built a warehouse of supplements. I would have built a real breakfast. Mistake number 2, detoxing myself into the ground. Detox was so popular. And look, your body already has detox systems: liver, kidneys, gut, skin, lungs. You don't need to punish yourself with a liquid ritual to cleanse your soul, but I didn't know that then. So I did the colon cleanses, the flush everything out programs. And here's the problem: you're not just flushing out toxins. You can mess with your gut bacteria and electrolytes too, things you actually need to function like a normal human. I did juice cleanses. I did the master cleanse, lemon juice, cayenne pepper, maple syrup. I did variations of that nonsense like it was a seasonal hobby. And the worst part, when you're sipping sugar all day, your body never truly switches over to using fat. So you're stuck in this miserable in-between state, hungry, shaky, cranky, and weak because you're not fed enough to feel good, but you're also not fasting in a way that allows your body to adapt. Then came the herbal detoxes. I can't even count how many times I took some powerful detox herb and ended up sick in bed for 2 weeks because I stirred up my system and triggered an immune reaction that made me feel like I got hit by a truck. And then, the gallbladder cleanse. This is where I did something so ridiculous I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. I drank a large amount of olive oil because that's what the cleanse instructed, and before I did it, I swallowed a handful of beet pills thinking, this will help, I'll just wash it down. I was basically turning myself into a science experiment. The oil hit and it felt like it solidified. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how I go out. Not in a heroic way, just taken down by my own stubbornness and a bottle of extra virgin olive oil. If I could go back, I wouldn't detox. I would have simply eaten in a way that supports the body. Quality protein, vegetables, maybe targeted supplements if needed, gut-supporting foods, and consistency. The boring stuff, the stuff that actually works. Mistake number 3, I'll eat healthy after I graduate. In college, I lived on carbs and caffeine. Not a little coffee. I mean industrial strength coffee. And my food wasn't food, it was fuel. Cheap, fast, and mostly made of flour. I told myself, once I graduate, I'll clean it up. That's a lie we tell ourselves when we don't want to change today. Because here's what happened after I graduated. Did I eat healthy? No, I kept pushing it off. And at one point, I even went vegan again because I thought that was the clean, responsible, healthy move. For me, it backfired. My digestion got worse. I felt inflamed. I felt like I was slowly slipping downhill. Eventually, much later, I discovered a healthier approach that worked better for my body. More stable blood sugar, more protein, fewer cravings, less chaos. And when I finally turned the corner, I had this painful realization. If I'd learned this in my 20s, my entire life would have been easier. So don't wait. Not because you need to be perfect, but because the bill always arrives eventually. Mistake number 4, chasing pain in the wrong place. I had right shoulder pain, and I became obsessed with it. I treated that shoulder like it was the villain in my story. I went to therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, anyone who could dig into the muscle and fix it. And I also had this tightness under my right rib cage, constant nagging, like someone had tied a knot inside my body and forgot to untie it. For years, I didn't connect the dots. Now, quick disclaimer, pain can have many causes, and you should always always get evaluated by a qualified professional if something is persistent or severe. But here's what I learned. Sometimes pain is a signal from somewhere else. The shoulder can be a referred pain zone, meaning the problem isn't necessarily in the shoulder itself. In my case, it appeared to be connected to digestive and bile-related issues. The tightness, the discomfort, the pattern. It wasn't just a muscle that needed more massage. It was my body waving a red flag. The lesson: before you spend years fixing the symptom, make sure you've identified the cause. Ask yourself, is this really coming from where I think it's coming from? Mistake number 5, laughing at intermittent fasting. Someone told me about intermittent fasting years ago, and I basically shrugged. Yeah, okay, so you skip breakfast. Big deal. I was wrong. What changed my mind was looking at it through a human lens, not a trendy lens. For most of human history, we didn't graze all day. We didn't snack every 2 hours. We didn't eat dessert at night, then just a little something again because we were watching TV. Every time you eat, you raise insulin, and when you eat constantly, you keep insulin constantly elevated. That matters more than people think. When I stopped snacking, especially at night, and gave my body real breaks between meals, things changed. My weight dropped, my face looked different, the puffiness around my eyes cleared, my cravings calmed down. I realized I wasn't experiencing real hunger half the time. I was experiencing blood sugar swings. And once your body adapts to using stored energy more effectively, the space between meals becomes peaceful instead of panicked. Is intermittent fasting for everyone? Number. Some people need medical guidance, especially with certain conditions or medications. But for many people, simply stopping the constant grazing is a massive upgrade. Mistake number 6, overdoing the healthy kale shakes. I used to do kale shakes like it was my job. I had this mindset that more fiber equals more health. And if a little kale is good, then a blender full of it must be great. And for some people, fiber is helpful. But for other people, especially those with sensitive digestion, too much fiber too fast can create bloating, inflammation, and misery. And here's the other issue. To make kale shakes taste decent, most people sweeten them. Pineapple, blueberries, fruit juice. Now you've got a health drink that's quietly carrying a sugar load, especially if it's breakfast. And if you start your day with something sweet, you may end up chasing hunger and cravings all day long. If I could go back, I would have introduced fiber more gently and paid attention to tolerance. I would have leaned more on vegetables in meals, and when I did smoothies, I would have kept them modest. I'm not anti-plant, I'm not anti-vegetable. I'm anti-going to extremes without listening to your body. Mistake number 7, ignoring magnesium for years. This one is huge. I was deficient in magnesium for a long time, and I didn't know it. Magnesium is involved in muscle relaxation, nervous system balance, sleep quality, and mineral regulation. When magnesium is low, your body can become more prone to cramping, tension, and, in some people, issues related to mineral imbalance. I had muscle spasms, Charlie horses, cramps. I had terrible insomnia for years. I had fatigue that felt like walking through wet cement. And yes, magnesium status can also be relevant in the broader conversation around kidney stones for certain people, depending on their individual situation. But the main point is this: I spent years chasing complicated solutions while ignoring a simple deficiency that might have made a meaningful difference. And I also had vitamin D issues, another common one. Sometimes it's not that you need a new biohack, sometimes you need to correct the basics. What I do instead, if I could rewind time, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, the one standing in the health food store holding 5 bottles and a fantasy, I'd say, stop searching for magic, start building stability, eat real protein, build meals that satisfy, include vegetables in a way your body tolerates, be cautious with sugar disguised as healthy, stop snacking all day, let your body rest between meals, address common deficiencies with proper guidance, and most importantly, don't wait until 60, because the sooner you build good habits, the more your future self gets to enjoy the payoff. Now, because I want to make this practical, I've put together a free download for you, my daily routine checklist. It's the routine I use to feel sharp, steady, and energized, like I'm not negotiating with my body all day. There's a link below. Click it and grab it for free. And now that we covered the 7 mistakes, the next question is, what should you actually be eating? I broke that down in the next video right here. Go watch it.